All right, folks, just give me a minute. I'm going to share this link to some people, and then I will be right on. YouTube. Press this. Going live. Go to share. And am I still here? Good. Down. Go to MeWe. Chats. And I'm back into my live. Okay. Good enough. All right, folks. Today we'll discuss well, give me a second. Ah! Oh, I hate this. Well, they said use this thing. Oh, come on. Well, it's not perfect, but at least it's better. And today we will discuss government forfeitures. Hopefully people will show up. And I'm wood burning, and hopefully this will work. I already put the string on it. Might be a plaque I'll put in my workshop downstairs. Get it all back together now that I'm starting to walk. But government forfeitures. Well, let's see if anybody shows up. I might actually eat first because I do have food. And then hopefully I'll be done eating by the time people show up. This is going to be hard, but you all are going to see me walk finally. Oh. Wait a minute. I gotta let that heat up anyways. Nice mashed potatoes and Salisbury steak. Sounds good to me. In the garbage. Grab my fork. It's not much, but I'm just starting to walk again. It's probably my second day. And I don't walk very well these days. I'll let that cool down and that heat up. So, even though no one's on right now, civil forfeitures. Okay? Civil forfeitures being the factor of a police officer, what a civil forfeiture means is that they do not need to accuse you of a crime. Okay? All they have to do is say you're suspect. Now, think about it. That means that if I was a police officer, I could say, I believe this person has committed a crime, okay, or might use money, finances, or assets to commit such crime. Therefore, without pressing any charges, I automatically take away their belongings, whatever it be. It could be your rent money, okay? Now, in some cases, people have committed crimes in the past, but this makes it so that they can't get ahead. Imagine you're walking down the street, you have money for your landlord, and they take it. It could be hard earned from a job. This happens all the time in the big cities and sometimes in the country. Now, I think it's just a lazy way for police officers to get money, and in my opinion, it's theft. All right, of American people's finances, a way to keep poor people poor. Okay. Also, with the civil forfeiture, to get your money back, you or whatever you have, whether it be a car or whatnot, you have to literally fight the police on this. I want you to think about this. You have to get a lawyer and pay for a lawyer to get your own property back that the police stole. And in my opinion, like I said, this is nothing more than theft. It doesn't stop crime because if I'm a criminal and you take a car from me, I'll just steal stuff and get a new car, if I was a criminal. But if I'm the average guy that doesn't commit crimes and you take something like my vehicle, which might be my livelihood or my rent, it makes a big difference. Now, who's to say that police officers are not going to do this? Right? Matter of fact, there are a lot of crooked cops out there. I'm not saying all cops are crooked, but a lot are. And an awful lot of cops do this civil forfeiture thing. So, yeah, it's an actual thing where they steal money. It's a legal way for them to steal from you. That's your civil forfeiture. Also, according to Google, when I've looked this up, it also states that if you do have a problem where they do this to you for whatever reason, and you go to court and you go to fight for it, that you then have to prove why you need this. Not to have it, but that you need it. So think about it. Your rent, and you have to now prove that it's yours and that you have to need it, even after the cops stole it from you. There's a lot of hogwash to it. And in my opinion, it's theft. And there are cases where in civil forfeiture, they found that the money was used to like host a birthday party for a little boy that was the police officer's son, you know. And think about it this way. Let's say I'm dating some ex of a police officer, right? Oh, come on. Anyways, I hope y'all can hear me because my phone's screwing up. Somebody's here. Was discussing civil forfeiture, if you're interested. There. So, I'm trying to use that to get this, and I'm slowly eating as I go through. Basically, in my opinion, if a criminal was to do civil forfeiture or to steal from me, it'd be considered a crime. Police does what they call civil forfeiture, which is the same thing. It's legal. Think about that. And I think about it in other ways. Like, take a look at the mob in the old days. All right? When the mob actually really was in power and they did things. Like, for example, let's say that they were collecting money for protection money. That's the same thing that the police are doing with civil forfeiture. So are they nothing more than a mob at that point? That's kind of the same thing. Crooks and mobs. I mean, it's a legal way for them to do that. And I think some of them actually believe that they're doing the right thing, but it's not. And it's laziness, if nothing else. Is that my opinion is you should, if you're a police officer, you should be good enough to at least, if nothing else, be able to find out if somebody's actually committing a crime and then charge them. You should not be able to take property away from somebody, whether it's their money, their finances, maybe their rent, like I said, them going to pay a bill, because you think that they're a crook. They might be a crook. They might be a drug dealer. You don't know that. And in my opinion, that makes you no better than a thief. And that's literally what it is. It's theft from the American people. Good, honest paying. That's your civil forfeiture. And that's it in pretty much a nutshell. Like I said, getting it back, getting a lawyer to get it back, paying all that money, and then you still might not get it back just for the simple fact that you also have to prove why you need it. It's a very crooked system that should be changed. And if nothing else, whatever property they take should not be used for their own personal use or gains. If anything, it should be donated to someone like a charity, like feeding the homeless. If you do take civil forfeiture, it would also decrease the access or the police doing it, because if they're not gaining from it, which they do, and for whatever reason it's legal, I think that that might actually cut it back too. Paying for your child's, you know, birthday should not be used with civil forfeiture at all. These things should be considered illegal, highly illegal. And police officers that do use it for that should be, you know. And I can understand civil forfeiture if it was you committed a crime and the police confiscated your property, but then you should be charged with a crime. Am I wrong? That's how we keep the economy down. That's how we keep somebody who's poor, like it or not. That puts them in the position where they need to commit crimes just to survive. Can you imagine? You're trying to decrease crime, but that's a way to increase it, actually. And I'll tell you, me personally, if a cop tried to commit civil forfeiture and claim my property, like my rent or something, I'd give up. I'd go rob a bank and be like, all right, I'll be the damn criminal. And I'd shoot the cop in the process. I would. Like I said, I don't care what they do here if they take me down, but that's actually what I would do. My property is mine. I work hard for my money. I keep my money. I'm not going to fight for it to come back. I'll take it out of the cop's hide violently. But that's me. There are other people out there that don't dare do that and then are forced into it. Doing that causes crime, in my opinion. And the police are supposed to be there to decrease crime. You know? It's just a bad situation with that. If you want to know how far I'm getting on this, this might be a short one if nobody cops into the chat. I see somebody's watching, but that's about it. It says one person. But yeah, that's one thing. And I think if we, as a people, want to make America great again, before or after the collapse of America, and I think it's already too late to stop the collapse, then that is something that we should get rid of as a law. Civil forfeiture should just be banned. Matter of fact, when you rebuild the country, make that a no-no. Or heavy restrictions on it, like you have to commit a crime before the government can seize your property. Actually commit and be charged with a crime. If nothing else, at least charged with. You know what I mean? It's wrong in so many ways, shape, or form. I mean, if you're a thief, be a thief. Don't claim to be a damn cop and say you're and do things that would consider other people thieves. It's what's destroying America. It's things like that, and it's been destroying America for the longest time. Now, let's talk about Biden. Okay, and I've done this one before on some of my videos. When I say Biden's a Nazi, I'm not kidding. I'm not sugarcoating it, and I'm not kidding. Okay? We've literally let a Nazi in the White House. All right? Joe Biden is one of the largest Nazis I've ever seen. He puts Hitler to shame. And I'm not saying that just to be an ass. I'm saying that because of the crimes that he has committed towards the American people in multiple ways, and the fact that he actually supports Nazis. Now, I've heard people say, well, Ukraine is not a Nazi country. Look at their military. Look at the paraphernalia in their military. Look at the way people believe. I got videos on YouTube that I can set you guys to improve that. They actually support the alt-right openly. I've seen it. People that are in their military supporting it. Military factions that are in Ukraine actually supporting it. Not saying all the people do, but a good portion. And in this good portion of them, there's, how I say, a good portion of them that are openly supporting it. Like they're still against the Jewish people, kind of the idea of actually murdering them. Me, that's a form of Nazism. They still use Germans' Nazi flags and stuff like that. Now, somebody once said that's not true, but actually, that's Russia where it's illegal, not Ukraine. Ukraine, they do whatever the fuck they want. So, When we support Joe Biden, or those of us that do, not everybody does, and I'm glad that some people do have a brain, when they actually support him and saying that he's non-racist and that, how about the fact that he supports a country openly and wants to arm them against Russia, who doesn't support Nazism? What does that say about our country? And yes, there are things like Operation Paperclip, where we literally brought Nazis into our government right after World War II, which also says a lot about us. So it's a sad, shameful thing. You know what I mean? And yet we don't stop it. We just keep it going. Our entire government, or at least a good portion of them, in my opinion, worship Nazism. And that's Democrats and Republicans alike. Because in my opinion, they're both two parties of the same thing. I'm for neither party because I think they both suck. Okay. I also believe that they have an agenda, and the agenda is to do that. Sorry, but America has been pretty much Nazi since right around the time or right after World War II. It's just it's is what it is. And I'm not talking about just some groups of small people. I mean in our government itself. Very politicians you vote for. Take a look at Joe Biden. Before he even became president, he put more black people in jail for stupid reasons with long prison sentences. And not just black people, but people in general, for the dumbest things. He actually signed bills to do that. He was proud of it. He openly states that he created a bill that we used against the American people, although we said it was to protect us from terrorists back in the early 2000s. He was the creator of that bill. And this is who we chose to have a president, which I don't think we chose to have him as a president, as I know many people, and I've spoke to many people, and I can't find too many that actually chose him to be their president. People say, well, it was the African American community. Well, I know the African American community says they would never vote for him. Very few of them have ever even admitted to it. Most of them would never have voted for this man. So, was the election stolen? Most likely. Welcome. If you want to jump in, please do. I'm wood burning again. Kind of got the phone at an angle where you guys can see me a little better, I hope. I'm just trying to get this thing settled. This is almost done. Um, been on for 23 minutes. Anybody want to jump in on the conversation? Say hi. Please say hi. Leave a remark or something, you know. Like, subscribe, whatever. It look like I got too many people coming in today. So yeah, when I say Joe Biden's a Nazi, he's a fucking Nazi, and I mean that literally. He's also passed bills to put more Americans in prison for small crimes or meaninglessly little things. Half our prison system is actually full of people that are just poor. So anybody can go to jail for any reason. And that's the American way, at least these days. And people like him are what made it like that. So how do we make America great again? Guys, anybody got any suggestions if anybody's out there? This is going to be a short live stream if I don't see people, so I hope I do. As soon as I get this done, if I don't think anybody's here. I'm going to just close it down when I'm done saying what I'm saying. But yeah, that is some serious stuff there that people don't seem to realize. We're in a very bad situation. We can make it better. I still have faith that we can make it better. Just don't see how. That's why this is supposed to be after the collapse of the United States, because I believe that's when we make it better. And I think we have to have a 1776 or whatnot do that. But yeah, here's another little thing. Every one of our politicians should be actually tried for treason. How many times in the last 20 years people like Joe Biden actually sent money over to Afghanistan, to the Taliban, to kill our own troops, to pay for our troops to have weapons used against them? They sent money and weapons to the Taliban. That's actually out in the open now. NIH, even the Wuhan one, was still NIH. It was still a member of the United States. It was not controlled by China. That was controlled by US. A little plaque. And probably hang it up in my basement. Show you guys a little trick before I cut off. Little science trick here. All right. Or not science, but just a little thing. It helps out. Let's say I want to sand this block of wood somewhere. All right. I got this high grade grit sandpaper. It goes on my table sander. And I cut it into strips. Why am I cutting into strips? I have plenty of these, so that's why I'm wasting them. Because let's say I want to go around corners. Right? So I take a strip, I cut it, and I cut it again. Right? Just get that little piece there. Take this off because this is sticky. And I got just this little thing here on the end of my drill. And I go for there, there, and there. And just that little bit around my drill is just enough to work. Now it's all tight onto this thing. It's really good on. That's why I cut it short. You can try to go around the whole thing, but it'd be a pain. And it won't stick to itself. So you come over here, you plug this in. And I have a few uses for this. For starters, it works as a sander. And you get into little places with it. It's really good for tiny little things. Okay? It's just how it is. See? Works really well. Another thing it is imagine you want to take a nick or two out of a knife. Works really well for that. It won't make it like super sharp because of the grit I'm using, but it'll slowly grind away that nick, and it's much better than using a, how you say, a grinder for this little factor. You just set this down. You're slowly chipping away. And eventually, things like this little nick that's in my blade will go away. And then I can resharpen it with a sharpening stone. Right now, it's not that sharp. But I had some nicks in it, and I wanted to clean it up. So, I will end it with this. And I wouldn't use this on any expensive stuff, even though it is just sticky and you can clean it off pretty well. But it is one of those things where I would use like a cheap one, because this came from the dollar store. Actually, it came from a whole set of things like this that I got with the little screwdriver into the dollar store. And it's just a bit to hold other bits. With that little round bit, it's pretty well taken this nick out. I mean, it's still got a little bit to go. As you can, I don't know if you can see it, but it does have a little bit to go there. And it's just a cheap, easy way to do that from a cheap knife. Yeah, made in China, folks. But hey, it takes out the nick, and then I can sharpen up the knife. I actually like the knife, even though it was made in China. All right, guys, nobody's here, so Sailing Prepper signing out.